Welcome back to the Academic Voyager. I'm Uchechi. In the last episode, I talked about the double jeopardy of academic migration, the compounded weight of academia and migration, the loneliness and the instability. Today, I want to tell you about what happens when you keep going. The double jeopardy is real, but it's not the whole story. In Hong Kong, I met more Africans than I had ever met before. Scholars from Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, Ethiopia, South Africa, Zambia, and Zimbabwe, working across different research fields. I hadn't visited many African countries before then, and yet, thousands of miles from home, I found a community of scholars, and I have built meaningful academic relationships with them. There is something quietly extraordinary about that. You leave home and find your people somewhere unexpected. You go to a new country and discover a community of scholars from the continent who are all navigating the same terrain. The academic pressure, the visa uncertainty, the distance from family, the question of whether this was the right choice. Suddenly, the double jeopardy isn't just yours, it's shared. The community did not form automatically. It was created deliberately over meals, late night discussions, WhatsApp messages, and social media connections that are still active today. It is important to note that community in the diaspora hardly forms on its own. It has to be built on purpose and for meaning. And building it is one of the most important things you can do as an academic migrant. Academic migration also gave me a rare perspective. When you live and work inside a system as an outsider, you see things that insiders don't recognize. You ask questions others assume. You notice assumptions baked into research questions, academic publications, funding priorities, conference themes, and journal editorial boards. These outsider perspectives become research assets. Cross-national collaborations have shaped my research program in ways I never anticipated. My friends introduced me to research areas I may not have encountered on my own. A conversation with a researcher from Ethiopia reframed the methodological question I had been stuck on for weeks. These are not small things. They are the architecture of a research career. This experience teaches a different kind of resilience, the capacity to function under sustained uncertainty, to make decisions without all the information, to build relationships across cultural distance, to keep research focused despite personal and administrative pressures. These are not just soft skills. They are research and leadership skills that carry you further than you know. So what do you do with all of this? Here are 3 things I wish I'd known earlier. 1. Build your community before you need it desperately. Do not wait until you are in a crisis to look for people who understand your experience. The scholars who navigate academic migration most successfully are the ones who invested in community during good periods, so that it was there during the hard ones. Start now. Find the WhatsApp group, the reading circle, the peer network of scholars who are navigating the same space. If it does not exist, create it. I know it's difficult in reality, but more valuable than expected. 2. Let the outsider perspective be an asset, not a liability. There will be moments in seminars, workshops, conferences, supervision meetings, where you feel that your perspective is not the expected one, that you are asking questions that mark you as an outsider. Lean into that rather than away from it. The questions you ask because you did not grow up inside the system are often the most interesting questions in the room. Own them. 3. Document the unexpected gifts. Record the moments that pleasantly surprise you. The connection you made on the corridor in your department or in the shared kitchen. The researcher or researchers that cited your work. The scholarship or the grant that came through when you had given up hoping. The friendship that formed across the language barrier. On the hard days, and there will be hard days, these documented gifts are what you return to. They are the evidence that the road is worth walking. The double jeopardy is real, but it's also a teacher. The community you build deliberately often becomes stronger than the one you would have inherited. The perspective you develop because you're an outsider is often sharper than the insider's perspective. And the resilience you build because you had no choice carries you further than you knew you could go. I'm still on this road. And this podcast is my way of sharing what I find along the journey. Honestly, and without the polish that makes things easier to say but harder to implement. If you're a PhD student, a postdoc, or an early career researcher navigating academia far from home, especially from Africa or the global south, you are exactly who this was built for. Please subscribe to the newsletter at theacademicvoyager.beehive.com and subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss episode 3. In episode 3, we'll talk about invisible barriers, visa realities, and what you can actually do about them. Remember, no scholar should navigate alone. See you on the road.